Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Neshtiki. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Caitanya Abhidanyena Bhutale Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu
Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopishta Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Mahastate Tapat Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Anu Sute Devi Parmani Hari Priye
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna
Krishna Krishnaya
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi
Devi
Gauravani
Devi Gauravani Pracharani
Shunyava
Visha Chudhavadi
Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Namo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha
Jai Sri Krishna
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri
Shri
Advaita
Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Varandi
Hare Krishna
Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna Hare
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 Ram Hare
Rama
Ram
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna.
Today morning, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 4, Text 13. So, where Uddhav and Maitreya Muni have come now to see Lord Krishna under the banyan tree before he is leaving the world. Puramaya proktam ajaya bhaye padme nishanya mamadi sarge jnanam paraman mahima vabhasam yatsurayo bhagavatam vadanti. O Uddhav, in the lotus millennium, in the days of yore, at the beginning of the creation, I spoke unto Brahma, who is situated on the lotus that grows out of my navel, about my transcendental glories, which the great sages describe as Srimad Bhagavatam. The explanation of the Supreme Self, as given to Brahma and already explained in the second canto of this great literature, is further clarified herein. So Krishna is saying that, oh, I spoke the Bhagavatam to Lord Brahma. We read that, the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. The Lord said that the concise form of Srimad Bhagavatam, as explained to Brahma, was meant to elucidate his personality. The impersonal explanation of those 4 verses in the second canto is nullified herewith. Sridhar Swami also explains in this connection that the same concise form of the Bhagavatam concerned the pastimes of Lord Krishna and was never meant for impersonal indulgence. So the impersonalists, they try to get an impersonal meaning out of Krishna, out of this Chatushloki, negating Krishna's personality, negating Krishna as a person. And Krishna is a person, like you and me. We are all persons. We have our individual likes, dislikes. We have our tastes. Similarly, Krishna is also a person. So the impersonal aspect is a lower, is a preliminary, it's more like a preliminary understanding of God. For example, Prabhupada used to say this story that there are three friends on a platform and they've never seen a train before. They heard, oh, if you want to know the train, you can go so and so platform and stay there and you can see the train. So soon enough, they saw a light coming. It was evening, so they saw the light coming and people started saying, oh, the train has come, train has come. So the first person on the platform said, okay, the train is light. And he went back. He didn't wait any longer. So the other two friends were still waiting. And as the train was coming nearer, they could see that there are different compartments. So the second friend said, okay, so the train has light and it has these different compartments. And he went back. But the third one stayed a little longer. He said, let me see what it is. So he stayed, and then the train stopped at the platform and he could see inside. There's varieties, there's benches, there is people sitting there, there is air conditioned, there is different, there's the chain to pull. So he saw there's different things, curtain there. Similarly, the impersonal aspect, the Brahmajyoti aspect of the Supreme Lord, that is just the preliminary aspect, the Gyan aspect, the Brahman platform is the preliminary aspect of the Supreme Lord. And if we do further research, we will come to the Paramatma aspect, that the Lord is in each and every one's heart and in each and every atom of the universe. And if we do further research, we will realize that God, he is a person, supreme person. He has a beautiful transcendental form with two hands, two lotus hands, two eyes, and his name is Shyam Sundar, Rajendra Nandan Krishna, Shyam Sundar Krishna. So here, this verse is to negate any impersonal conception of Krishna, of God. Is that okay?
Yes.
Text 14. Iti adroktaha parmasya pumsaha pratikshanugraha bhajano aham snehotaroma shilaki sakhila munchan chuha pranjalir abhabhase. Uddhav said, O Vidur, when I was thus favored at every moment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and addressed by him with great affection, my words failed in tears and the hairs on my body erupted. After smearing my tears, I, with folded hands, spoke like this. Kon isha te pada saroja bhajam sudharlabho artheshu chartheshu apiha tathapi naham pravarnomi bhuman bhavat padamboja nishepanotsukaha. O my Lord, devotees who engage in the transcendental loving service of your lotus feet have no difficulty in achieving anything within the realm of the four principles of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. But, O Great One, as far as I am concerned, I have preferred only to engage in the loving service of your lotus feet. Those who are associated with the Lord in Vaikuntha planets achieve all the bodily features of the Lord and appear to be the same as Lord Vishnu. Such liberation is called Sarupya Mukti, which is one of the 5 kinds of liberation. So one of the liberation is that we can enter into, there are so many Vaikuntha planets. As there are so many planets in this material world, there are even more planets in the spiritual world. And we can enter into any one of the planets. And over there, we can assume a form as similar to Lord Vishnu, 4 hands, bluish blackish body. You know, the only difference is that the Lord has the Srivatsa mark, the Lakshmi Devi on his chest, and the other inhabitants don't have it. And he has the Kaustuba jewel. The other inhabitants don't have it, but they have all the other bodily features as the Lord. That is called Sarupya Mukti, having the same, they look same like the Lord. And this is called as one of the 5 kinds of liberation. The devotees engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord never accept the Sayujya Mukti, or merging in the rays of the Lord, called the Brahmajyoti. So for a devotee, sitting in the Brahmajyoti is not liberation. They don't even count it as liberation. Why? Because there is no, first of all, because it's temporary. At one point of time, even if we reach the Brahmajyoti, we will fall down. Why? Because the soul is always active and there is no activity in the Brahmajyoti. How many millions of years can we just sit down doing nothing? We have experience here that when we are in this body, we can't sit very long without doing anything. We need to keep doing something. And that doing something is not the activity of this material body. Because if it was, then why doesn't a dead body move? That activity is a symptom of the soul. It's because the soul is there in the body keeps moving. And when the soul leaves, the body stops moving. So that's the reason, that is one. And in the Brahmajyoti, there is no reciprocation with the Supreme Lord. A devotee, he always wants to serve the Supreme Lord wherever he is. So he doesn't want to go into the Brahmajyoti because how will he serve the Lord there? Everybody, all the souls are just sitting there being inactive and thinking, okay, I'm in the Brahman right now. And so everybody's just peaceful and saying, okay, I'm Brahman, I'm Brahman, I'm Brahman. And then everybody's just sitting there. But there is nothing else to do. There's no reciprocation of Krishna with Krishna. The devotees can achieve not only liberation, but any success in the realm of religiosity, economic development, or sense gratification up to the standard of the demigods in the heavenly planets. But such a pure devotee as Uddhav refuses to accept all such facilities. A pure devotee wants simply to engage in the service of the Lord and does not consider his own personal benefit. So when we engage in bhakti, sure, we can get all the results of doing religious practices and economic development. When we are doing bhakti, Krishna does give us, he gives us economic growth. And there is so much room for sense enjoyment also. But what a devotee does not want all these things, because he finds greater pleasure in serving the Lord. And that's the reason he does not care for all this. And that's a pure devotee. A pure devotee has no material desires except to serve the Lord. And why? Because there is so much pleasure. We are all pleasure seeking. We are all Satchidananda. So we are always trying to be happy. Let me do this, this will make me happy. And then we try it for some time, not so happy. Let me try something else. Then we try something else. And then, okay, I get some happiness, but not enough. Okay, let me try something else. So we are always pleasure seeking. But once we connect ourselves truly to Krishna, we will find that bliss where we don't find in any other activity, that the heart feels full. And so that's the reason a devotee does not want anything else except to serve Krishna, because Krishna is also feeling happy. Krishna is sharing that happiness with us. And then what more higher than that? You know? Is that okay?
So the religiosity, economic development and all that is what? The dharma, artha, is that the one?
Yes. Dharma, artha, kama and moksha.
Kama and moksha. Okay.
Yeah. Religiosity is dharma, economic development, artha, kama, sense gratification, moksha, liberation. So a pure devotee does not want anything of that because he has tasted the higher pleasure in serving Krishna. You know, when we taste a higher, like pure ghee, pure butter, some some dessert, some mithai, which is made with pure ghee. So that's so yum, right? And if you taste some mithai with just ordinary oil, and you can really feel the difference, then you don't want to have that. You want the higher, richer one. So bhakti is like that. It's so rich and it fills the heart. Then we give up the lower taste once we have the higher taste.
Yeah, you want the best.
Want the best, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So text 16. Karmani anihasya bhavo abhavasya te durgashayo athari bayat palayanam kalatmano yat pramadayutramaha swat man rate khidyati dhir vidam iha. My Lord, even the great learned sages become disturbed in their intelligence when they see that your greatness engages in fruitive work, although you are free from all desires, that you take birth, although you are unborn, that you flee out of fear of the enemy and take shelter in a fort, although you are the controller of invisible time, and that you enjoy householder life surrounded by many women, although you enjoy in yourself. So here Uddhav is saying that how the sages who don't know Krishna very well, who are not devotees, they get bewildered by Krishna's activities. Pure devotees of the Lord are not very much concerned with philosophical speculation in regard to transcendental knowledge of the Lord. Nor is it possible to acquire complete knowledge of the Lord. Whatever little knowledge they have about the Lord is sufficient for them, because devotees are simply satisfied in hearing and chanting about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. So the pure devotee knows, of course, that he cannot understand the Lord fully. Why? Because the Lord is unlimited. And we are tiny, we are very limited, we are very insignificant. So what's our capacity to understand the unlimited? Although we are the same quality. Although Krishna is Sachidanand and we are Sachidanand. But our capacity is very less. But a devotee is satisfied in whatever he knows about the Lord. Whatever the Lord reveals to him, he's very satisfied. Why? Because he's he's situated in his relationship with the Lord. By hearing and chanting, he is associating with Krishna. And because he's doing that, he's happy. He's not hankering for anything else. And so he doesn't want to mentally speculate, with the tiny mind, because the mind is imperfect after all. And because he's already experiencing Krishna, he doesn't want anything else. This gives them all transcendental bliss. But some of the pastimes of the Lord appear contradictory even to such pure devotees, and thus Uddhav asked the Lord about some of the contradictory incidents in his pastimes. The Lord is described as having nothing to do personally, and it is actually so, because even in the creation and sustenance of the material world, the Lord has nothing to do. It seems contrary then to hear that the Lord personally lifts the Govardhan hill for the protection of his unalloyed devotees. The Lord is the supreme Brahman, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, appearing like a man. But Uddhav has doubts whether he could have so many transcendental activities. Now Uddhav is saying, Krishna, you are unborn, yet you take your birth. You don't need to do anything, yet you're doing so many activities. So what's happening here? There is no difference between the personality of Godhead and the impersonal Brahman. How then can the Lord have so many things to do, whereas the impersonal Brahman is stated to have nothing to do, either materially or spiritually? So here the difference is Krishna, as the light is coming from Krishna's body. The Brahman, the impersonal Brahman, is coming from Krishna's body. So it's his. So it is one of his features, and that's why he can also, the Brahman is also called God. It's just a preliminary understanding. And the person Krishna, the form of Krishna, is also God. That's a higher end understanding. So, but in the Brahman, there is nothing to do because it's just light, no? What can you do in the light? So if the Lord is ever unborn, how then is he born of the son of Vasudeva and Devaki? He's fearful even to Kal, the supreme fear. And yet the Lord is afraid of fighting Jarasandha and takes shelter in a fort. How can one who is full in himself take pleasure in the association of many women? So Uddhav is saying that you're unborn, yet you're born to Vasudeva and Devaki. Everyone is afraid of you. We are all afraid of death. Krishna says, time I am, and I have come to take everyone. So Krishna's, the fearful feature is time. With time, everything finishes, deteriorates, and that's fearful to us. But how can be that Krishna, who's fearful for everyone, is fearing Jarasandha and he's running away? Because Krishna does leave the battlefield once when Jarasandha and Kalyavan were coming to, they came to Dwarka. Krishna fled from there. Mathura or Dwarka, I'm not sure. Anyway, but he fled from there. And he entered a cave. And then Uddhav was saying, Krishna is Atmaram. He's fully satisfied. So why is he acting like a householder with so many women? What is it? How can he take wives and just like a householder, take pleasure in the association of family members, children, relatives, and parents? All these apparently contradictory happenings bewilder even the greatest learned scholars, who thus bewildered cannot understand whether inactivity is a fact or whether his activities are only imitations. So what's happening? What's happening? Is it that Krishna doesn't do anything? Or is it that whatever they are seeing is false? Or is it just Maya? What is it? The solution is that the Lord has nothing to do with anything mundane. All his activities are transcendental. This cannot be understood by the mundane speculators. So Krishna, he's transcendental, he's Satchid Ananda. So all his activities are also transcendental. They are not like our material activities because we have a material body. We are, of course, the soul, but we are inside this body and we are thinking we are the body. And so all the activities that we do are material activities. But Krishna, his body is not material, it is transcendental, it is Satchidananda. So all his activities are also transcendental. It is not under the Durga Devi's jurisdiction, not under Mahamaya's jurisdiction. It's all under his internal potency, spiritual energy. So what happens is, because we think that Krishna is like us, we are not able to understand his super excellent position. We are not able to understand his activities. But once we just understand that his body is transcendental, it's not material. He's unlimited. We are also transcendental, but we are limited. We are tiny. So that's what Lord Caitanya came to teach us. Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. Simultaneously one and yet different. We are simultaneously one with Krishna. We are one with God. So in that sense, we are tiny gods. We are tiny gods because we are tiny, tiny Satchidananda. But we are tiny, insignificant. We have no power, or very, very, very tiny power. Whereas Krishna, he's supremely, unlimitedly great, supremely powerful. So that's how simultaneous, one and difference. For the mundane speculators, there is certainly a kind of bewilderment, but for the transcendental devotees, there is nothing astonishing in this. The Brahman conception of the absolute truth is certainly the negation of all mundane activities, but the Para-Brahman conception is full with transcendental activities. So the Jnanis, they say that Brahman is the highest, and then, of course, in Brahman, there is no material activity because it's beyond this material world. It's on a liberated platform. Yes, But Para Brahman, Krishna is the Para Brahman. And he has full variety, he has full of activities, so many pastimes. One who knows the distinctions between the conception of Brahman and the conception of Supreme Brahman is certainly the real transcendentalist. There is no bewilderment for such transcendentalists. Now, why is somebody called real transcendentalist if they can understand the Supreme Brahman and not only the Brahman? Is because if by just knowing Brahman, we are still negating that who is the creator, that there is someone who is greater than us. So the knowledge is still incomplete. So to have the complete knowledge, we have to look at the tiny souls that we are, and also the great soul, and that is Krishna, the Para Brahman. So there is no bewilderment for such transcendentalists. The Lord himself also declares in Bhagavad Gita 10.2, even the great sages and demigods can know hardly anything about my activities and transcendental potencies. It's very difficult to understand Krishna. No one can understand Krishna. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita himself, that if anyone wants to understand me, then it's only by devotional service. Only when we engage in devotional service can we understand Krishna. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand him by our tiny brain, The right explanation of the Lord's activities is given by Grandfather Bhishma, Bhagavatam 1.9.16 as follows. Nahi asya karhichid rajan puman veda vidhistitam yad vigna saya yukta muyanti kvayo apihi. And the translation of that is, O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord Sri Krishna, even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. So even Bhishma Dev is saying that no one can understand the Lord, but only how much the Lord reveals to us. And because the pure devotees, they have a loving relationship with Krishna, he reveals himself to them. If we also have our experience, if somebody does not want to really know us and they are envious of us, they really don't want to understand us, we don't tell them about our personal things. We keep a very distance with them. We are formal, we are cordial. We don't have to be rude, but we are not going to tell them, oh yeah, come home. We are not going to reveal our heart to them. We won't introduce them to our family. But if somebody wants to really know us, is submissive, is friendly, and they really have a genuine interest to get to know us, then we'll say, yeah, please come home. This is my parents, this is my siblings, like that. So Krishna is also a person. He's the supreme person, independent, supremely independent person. Is that okay? Any questions, comments?
I was just asking, there was a story that even gopis, when Krishna was in Vrindavan, the gopis and one Muni came, and then they wanted to go and see the Muni. So Krishna said that they wanted to cross the Yamuna and it was really high. So they said that, Krishna said that go and tell Yamuna that I am the purest. Like I haven't had any relation with any women. And they said, and they started laughing, Krishna, how is that possible? I mean, you be with us every time, and how is it possible? He said, just go and say. And they went and they told Yamunaji, and then Yamunaji gave the way, and they were surprised, and they went and they did all the puja of the Rishi. And when they wanted to come back, they said, now how should we go back? I'm just forgetting the explanation. The Rishi will give it to them, or Krishna will give it to them when they come, but I'm just not able to recollect the explanation that Krishna gave them. And then when they wanted to come back, Rishi said that, okay, you just tell Yamuna that I ate nothing, though they brought a lot of offerings for the Rishi to eat. And Rishi said that you just go and tell Yamuna ji that the Rishi did not eat anything. So
they went and they started laughing again. They said, how come we bought so many offerings? He ate so much. And now he wants us to go and tell Yamuna ji. He said, okay, we're not going to cross it over only today. But then when they went and they said, and then Yamuna ji gave the way. So I think Krishna explained that because he is pure in heart. I'm not sure about it. So like what you're explaining, how the devotees are bewildered, like, sometimes this is also one of the bewilderment that happened with them. So
Yeah. And the sage, why he said even though he ate so much, he didn't eat anything, is because he offered it to Krishna. He offered it to Krishna, so he has no reaction for that eating, This is, I think that's what I remember. I think that's what it is. And Krishna is full in himself. He has no lust. He has no lust in him. So even if he's with women, he's called as a brahmachari because there's no lust in his heart. He's there with them because they want to reciprocate with him in that relationship. Otherwise he's full in himself. He's full. It's just the how the devotee wants to approach him, he reciprocates. So as you said, yes, it's difficult for us to understand certain activities of Krishna. And the more we hear and chant, then the more things become clearer. The more we can understand that it's all Krishna is inconceivable. That's why his activities are called inconceivable. So we can stop here for today. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare
Hare Krishna.